Hey, this is Mishkin from Crimson Veil, and you're watching That Metal Interview.
That Metal Interview.
Your presence is much appreciated, fellow thrashers, metalheads as I am. Welcome to your favorite podcast, Rock Metal Podcast. Your friend James welcomes you all the way from the state of Texas, from the US of A, the planet Earth, and the solar system. Anyways, we have frontwoman Mishkin Fitzgerald from the UK-based outfit Crimson Veil. 4 very talented instrumentalists, and under Reigning Phoenix Music, RPM, they have a new album that dropped September 20th by the title of Hex. That's Hex. You guys have to check it out if you like alternative metal, as I'm going to label this. You could be labeling it something different because it might be different to your ears, but it's still some awesome metal. And right now, let's check out and listen to, as I always do, I present to you their latest single and video, title track off the album, Hex. Hex. We'll be right back. Very cool metal for you guys there. Title track for their album Hex, Hex, and I am speaking of Crimson Veil from the UK. And this is the track list as it appears. Track number 1, Hex, Ribbons, Flinch, Shift, Illuminate, Opulence, Joyless, Awake, and Task. So that's 9 awesome tracks for you guys. And you have Mishkin Fitzgerald on vocals, Gary Mitchell on guitars, Hannah Piranha on strings, what a cool name, and Anna Miley on the drums. That's 3 women and 1 guy in a band. Why not make it 4 women in the band, right? And I do ask her that question, and check out the response. Very cool. So anyways, let's go to the interview in our chat with the talented front woman from the UK, Mishkin Fitzgerald. Enjoy.
First of all, first question, where are you? What part of the planet?
Probably not from this planet, but yeah, my home is currently in Brighton, UK. But the rest of the band are from, one is from New Zealand, the other is from Scotland, and the drummer is Belgian. So we're from many places.
Really? So how are the rehearsals? How do you guys do that?
So we work a lot remotely, and then we usually come together for a rehearsal right before we have a tour. And we would meet maybe in London or Belgium, depending on where everybody is. But the New Zealand and the Scotland people, they live in Brighton now. They're just from there. But Anna's living in Belgium at the moment, the drummer.
She's a great drummer. How did you find her? Did you have auditions? First of all, how was the band formed?
So the band was formed, originally it was another band. We've been going under a different name for like 15 years, which me and the the guitarist now, Gary, started back in 2009, and then it evolved and became really heavy metal. We met Hannah in 2015, she joined the band, the original project, and then Anna joined the original project in 2019, right before the pandemic. And we knew her through session work. I think Hannah and Anna met playing Irish music at a Celtic gig. And then when our drummer left, Hannah said, "I know just the girl." So that's what happened.
So basically there's 3 girls in the band and 1 guy, right?
That's right, currently.
Why not just make it all women? All respect to Gary.
I mean, why? Why would we do that?
Yeah, good answer. So how about I want to mention, before we get into your music, I want to mention your on-stage wardrobe, if I can say that. Your horns,
yeah,
and all that. Whose idea was that? Which it's cool. And
oh, thanks.
What with that?
So we've always liked a little bit of theatrics. Our music videos are quite immersive. And I think it was like Hannah's quite good at visualizing what we need to do on stage. The music just felt so witchy and pagan and kind of this spiritual kind of vibe to it, this dark spiritual occult vibe to it. So for us, the stage costumes, it's an extension of the sound. So why not make people experience something visually as well as the music? You know, I think it wouldn't be the same band if we turned up in jeans and a t-shirt. You know, it just, I mean, it could work, but it's fun to dress up and to change your character and bring that energy onto the stage so that the audience kind of feel like they're experiencing a show, a real show, you know. So yeah, we just kind of thought, well, what do we sound like? What does that sound look like? And that's what we came up with. It's quite goddess themed, and also a balance of light and dark. So we try and bring that into our stage costumes. But yeah, it was hard to think of what Gary could wear.
Right. It looks cool.
Thanks.
Is this from the start? Did you guys start off with this on-stage stuff, or did it come along the way?
With Crimson Veil, we started with it because it was a new venture. We really wanted to start it with a really strong image. So the first show we played when we toured with Lordi and we got the opportunity to tour with them, we thought, okay, let's really up our game with the costumes. I mean, you've seen what Lordi wear. They're pretty impressive. So we thought we have to go on stage wearing something interesting.
Okay, so that you point that as an influence. That's cool. How about your beginnings, Mishkin? What is your start in the music business? When did you find out you could sing? Were you a small girl or you a teenager or?
Yeah, I've been singing my whole life. I love music. I was born loving music. I just always really drawn to it. My dad was really into a lot of eclectic music, some jazz and opera, and a lot of 60s like rock and roll, Motown. He still has this huge record collection. So I would sort of go through the records and listen to all of these completely different things and absorb that. And then my mum at the time was a church minister when I was growing up. So we would go to church every Sunday, sometimes twice, and sometimes in the middle of the week, you know. So my childhood revolved around going to church. And what I loved about the church was the music. I sang all the time, sang in the choir, played in the church group. And that was really where my musical training came into. And then it was later on in my teenage years that I got into like rock and metal and heavier stuff. But I still think it's like an influence on my writing, probably church music and my dad's record collection.
Right. So how about you're explaining to us the clean voice? How about the death metal voice, if I could say that? Where did that come from? And how did you know you could do that kind of voice? I can't do that.
Okay, I'm sure you can. You just need to book a lesson with me. You're fine.
Okay.
Everyone. Yeah, I also didn't know I could do that. It was a big surprise. I haven't been a metal singer, you know, from the start at all. I was very like, I would say quite high range, you know, soprano kind of thing. And I had to work quite hard to fit myself into like rock and metal music because my voice was so classical sounding and so soft and bright sounding and clean sounding. There was no grit or anything on it. But I got really, really bored in the pandemic. And, you know, we were writing this metal music and I just thought, well, now I have the time I can train. So I worked with a few teachers before that who had got me a bit closer to where I wanted to, but I worked with this one amazing teacher, Mary Zimmer. And within the first lesson, she unlocked exactly what I needed to do technically to get my voice to do these really, these death growls. And obviously they were tiny when I first started, like my fry was tiny and so was my death growls, but just practice and practice and practice. And it was actually something that it was just so enjoyable to do and so cathartic. I mean, it was really frustrating being in the pandemic and not really able to play live music or play loud music. And it was very depressing. So actually learning how to scream was really fun. And yeah, but it's taken me a long time and it took me a lot of confidence to get on stage the first time and do death growls was like terrifying because I wasn't sure if my voice would sustain it. But now I love it. It's like my favorite thing. So
When you guys are arranging, let's say you're in the studio or at the rehearsal place, how do you know where you're going to put a clean voice and where you're going to put a death metal piece, if you will? How do you arrange that?
that's a really good question. I'm not really sure. I think the song for us takes so long to structure and form, and we go over and over and over it and constantly changing things until it's perfect. But it's a very long process. We don't just like jam through a song and then go, cool, here are the sections. Like every single section is planned out. But usually I have like an idea of a song and I usually have some melodic form. So that usually starts the song, the melodic section. But sometimes Gary writes, you know, these huge, really heavy passages. So he'll be writing the really heavy bits with Anna and the riffs. And I think that's usually where we think, well, where's the nasty bit of the song? You know, where's the real darkness in the song? And that's usually where we put the death growls or some belt vocals, and then where the song is more beautiful and soft, that's where I'll do my softer voice. But it could be kind of random as well.
So you have Hex, HEX, dropping September 20th, right?
Yep, that's right.
That's one of my questions. I think you just answered. Take us through the writing process of Hex or any of those songs. So there you go. I guess Gary comes up with some cool riff, and then you guys build around that, or?
Yeah. So actually, like every member of the band writes. So sometimes Anna starts a song by just giving us a really cool drum groove that she's in, or sometimes Gary will say, well, I have this guitar part. I write all my songs on the piano. So I generally, like, for example, Ribbons was written completely on piano from start to finish. And then we turned it into a metal song. Whereas Flinch, Gary wrote the guitar riff, and that's what started the songs. And then I came in to fit the chords in with the synthesizer. But every member of the band, and especially with our record after this, we're all writing our own sections, and then we come together to try and structure it and make sure it works. But every member starts a song, and then we all sort of try and finish it together. We're quite good at giving each other space to play our sections. We don't play over each other. We make sure that whatever the song needs is what the song gets, which I think is quite unusual for bands to have everyone writing and everybody creating. I think it's unusual. So we're quite fortunate that we can do that. But yeah, basically the writing structure comes from everyone.
Writing, do you mean lyric wise or just musically?
No, not the lyrics. So me and Hannah handle the lyrics. I would usually start with the concept, and I have some lyrical form. Hannah's lyrics are amazing. So when the two of us write together, we can finish a lyrical structure quite quickly. But no, the lyrics would come from me and from Hannah.
So I noticed you're talking about the cello player, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I noticed, is that the bass, I guess, in the band, the bass guitar of the band, the cello?
It's some of it. So Gary also plays bass. So sometimes we have his bass on our backing tracks. Sometimes we have a bass synth, and sometimes we have a cello. So the bass changes depending on what the song is doing. So yeah, we have bass there, but it's not a traditional sort of form of bass. But we were thinking maybe at some point when the band grows, and if we do a lot of live shows, we may have to get a bass player in. We're not sure yet, but yeah, right now it's just coming through either the backing tracks or the cello.
The first time I heard you guys, Crimson Veil, I don't want to say the style or the genre, but it's unique. It doesn't sound like anybody else. Are you aware of that? It sounds very unique. It's not Ghost, and it's not Slayer, and it's not, it's your own thing. So are you aware of that?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the more that we put out music, the more I'm realizing that it is quite unique, because a lot of people are telling me now, this is quite unique. I've never heard this before. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of isn't that a good challenge to try and sound like no one else? I mean, I think for us, we just writing the music that we want to hear and that we don't have in our lives. So for us, we're writing music that excites us. We're not trying to be anyone else. We're just taking all the influences, all the things that we love about all the music that we listen to, and trying to do something genuine, really. I just, all the bands that I love, I think are unique. I love Gojira. I think they're so unique. Igor, Opeth, all these bands, they don't sound like anyone else. And that's what really appeals to me as a songwriter. So yeah, for us, it makes sense that we sound unique. We do have a unique blend of influences as well. We're all musicians from very different walks of life. Gary, is a jazz musician as well as a metal musician. Hannah's from a classical background. I came from church, and Anna's got her dad is a prog guitarist. So I think when you get all these people together in the same room, something weird is going to come out, and that's what happened.
That explains the sound. There you go. So
yeah.
You mentioned some bands there, Gojira, Opeth. Are those your influences? Is that? I guess my question is, what's on your playlist or?
Yeah, we have a band playlist that we make every year with stuff that we're really into at the moment. At the moment, there's some classical music on it. There's some Harkin. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. There's some Gojira, and there's some Porcupine Tree. So it's a real mixed bag of stuff. But yeah, I would say that Opeth is a very strong influence on us. I think you can hear that with the previous band that we were in, as we were turning into progressive stuff and more metal. That was really a band that we were following and listening to. And then now we're signed to Reigning Phoenix, which is the same label as Opeth. So it really felt like the right place for us, because we felt this is the label that understands, bands that are a bit different. So yeah, Opeth is definitely a big influence for me as well. Igor are a really big influence. I love the blend of so many genres that they do so effortlessly. It's really impressive. and yeah, Gojira is a big influence on me. But Anna's more into prog stuff. She's really into Porcupine Tree, and Gary listens to the more like aggressive metal, tech death and stuff. He's quite into, as well as jazz. And Hannah likes a lot of classical music, but also some pop and some kind of like dark rock bands like Nine Inch Nails. So there's a lot of influences going on, I would say.
Who is the biggest rock star or musician you have met so far?
I don't know, Lordi, I guess. I haven't really met any rock stars. I mean, I've seen a lot of gigs, but you know, being in this position is new for us. Like, I haven't been in a signed band of this level before, so it's quite exciting to see who we're going to meet. But I guess the biggest rock stars we've met so far were Lordi, and they were so cool and fun to tour with, and yeah, just really amazing live show. Like, it was really impressive to watch them play for 2 hours every night in those costumes and the platforms and stuff, and they're amazing musicians as well, like absolutely flawless. So it was just really brilliant to you really like a band when you watch their show every night and you're just not getting bored. You're just like enjoying it all the time.
Yeah, I've interviewed Mr. Lordi, the vocalist, right?
Cool.
He's a cool guy, real cool. Mm-hmm. Down to earth.
Yeah, they're really cool.
So you mentioned touring with them. What's your favorite part of touring?
Favorite part of touring is being on stage, definitely. I think it's like the moment before the show starts, we're sort of backstage, and our live show is quite, dark and serious. So backstage, before we go on stage, we're always like just being a bit silly, which is always quite a fun thing. So we're all a bit nervous. So just before we go on stage, we kind of like try and make each other laugh and have our own little rituals that we do before we go on stage. But I love the moment when our introduction music starts. We have like a song from The Shining, the film, Midnight in the Stars, and it's this really weird old vintage kind of jazzy song, and then it starts to slow down, so it just gets really sinister, and it's just really weird. It kind of sets the scene for the weirdness to begin, and that's probably my favorite part of the show.
So you say weirdness, is that what is this deliberate? I mean, is your music meant to be weird or maybe alternative? Or
I mean, I think it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird. Like, when we wrote it, we were like, this is definitely weird, like the song Hex. I don't know if you heard the full album. The single's coming out at the same time as the album, but it's a really weird song. The structure and the time signatures and what's going on it's strange. It's a strange combination, and I think me and Anna used to joke that we're writing music to confuse and alienate people. So
it is deliberate by design. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was accidental, but we're not sorry that we did it, if you know what I mean.
I noticed you mentioned time signatures, meaning
yes.
Music. That's what that means? Because I studied some music myself, and like time
yes.
4/4, 6/8. So where did you learn music? On your own, or did you take some school classes for that, or?
We all studied music. I didn't have a traditional study music. Like I said, I learned everything from like church training and singing in choirs and stuff. But then I did music at school and did really well. It was the only subject that I was really that good at. And then when I went to university, I did music writing, I did composition, and then I studied classical piano on the side, and I just got good at all my instruments. But I am absolutely a music theory fanatic. We're all music theorists, and we love to talk about music theory, and it's really geeky, in the band. So yeah, I love like odd time signatures. I love coming up with something that's just a bit different. So we're always looking for something, not because we're trying to be clever, but just because it's fun to explore like musical boundaries and try and push them a little bit into a song. That's why I love like Gojira, because they've just got such good grooves. And often like these time signatures and these polyrhythms that kind of cross, and Meshuggah too, that kind of stuff. It's really exciting to listen to music like that. So yeah, we love music theory, love time signatures.
One of the new singles, Shift, that's a cool song right there. Can you talk about that song? How was that song born? Is it with Gary? Was it with the drums or?
So I wrote that song, the main structure of it. I didn't write it on piano. It didn't really work on piano, but I knew I had this little like riff where it starts opening. So that started off on a synth, and then handed it over to Anna, who really put the rhythms down. And then Gary had this really cool idea to have this breakdown in the middle where Anna stays in 4/4, but Gary's playing in 15/8, and they kind of come together on certain beats, and it just creates this really cool kind of riff that goes round and round and builds, and then the cello comes in on the same riff, and then there's a violin, and it just layers and layers up and just gets more and more crazy, more like aggressive sounding. But I think the whole song was really written with this intention for it to be quite a frightening song. It's quite a, it's quite a scary song. If you listen closely to the lyrics, it's not nice, it's dangerous, and that's the feeling of the song to me. It really, really builds and builds, and it's just a really sinister song. So that's kind of what we set out to do with that one, and I think it's succeeded. I'm glad you like it. It's one of my favorites to play live as well, because it's very easy to just nod your head to. You don't have to try very hard to like it.
So do you guys think of the audience to see how a fan is going to react live when you guys are writing music, or do you just write as the way it's coming out to make it sound sinister, I guess?
Yeah, I don't think we write with any audience in mind. It's nice when the audience appreciates it, but we're not writing for anyone except ourselves to enjoy the music. I think you can really tell when a musician is like writing genuinely, because they're not writing to impress anyone or try to like tick the box of everyone gonna like this or something. When you really write from a place of just creativity and fun, like I got into music because it was fun. I wanted to enjoy writing and have fun in my job. So, I don't really write with the intention for anyone else except, the band and myself. And, when you come to the band with a song, you just got to hope they like it. But we seem to all like the same things, but we're definitely not writing with the audience in mind. But we love it when the audience gets it, because then you know that you've done something genuine, but also it's reached somebody else, and that's a really cool moment.
I saw an interview with Lars of Metallica where he mentions he had a similar answer for the question. He said that they write for themselves and not for anybody else, but he does welcome the audience to like what they like and write. So he had a similar answer there with that question, similar to, I guess all musicians do that, huh? Or most musicians, right?
I think so. I think if you're writing in your own band and you want to do something original, then you are writing for yourself, really. I didn't, otherwise I'd be in a formulaic band, maybe not even writing my own songs, but just performance. I think you either go into music to perform, or you go into create, and sometimes the two cross over. But I know plenty of bands that don't write their own songs, and they're just doing it because they want to make something that fits, that just ticks a certain box, and that's completely fine. But that's not what I've ever wanted to do with music. I've always wanted to create something as interesting as as something that would interest me if I was listening to it. So yeah, that's cool that they also said a similar thing.
Yeah, obviously I'm in the US and Texas. I haven't seen you live yet, but I have, everybody watches YouTube, I assume, and I did notice your sound. Back to your sound, it's just like a big movie. Can I say that? Your sound is like a horror flick mixed with some badass music.
Nice.
That's awesome. I mean, even if you want to change the channel, if you will, or change it to another video, you won't, because this is cool. You guys have come up with something very cool here.
Well, I'm so glad you think so. That's great. I'm excited to see what the world thinks about the album. Slightly nervous as well, but that's great that you're enjoying it. Thank you.
I want to bring up the album cover. That's you, of course, right?
Yeah.
How about those symbols on there? What does that mean, or what do the symbols represent? What is that?
The symbols are from this occult book called the Lesser Key of Solomon, which was like a book with loads of sigils in it for demon summoning and angel summoning. It's kind of an old medieval book. It's, it's not particularly groundbreaking in terms of occultism, but I did become a little bit obsessed with it. Again, in the pandemic, I got really bored, so I studied a lot of stuff that I found interesting and something that might be inspiring to the music, and came across this book, and I just thought the sigils were so cool. It was just so unusual, the artwork behind it and the meaning behind it. So you'll see in the music video for Hex, which is out on the 20th, these symbols come to life a little bit. But originally when we wrote the album, we had like a number for each song, and that number like represented one of the sigils in the book, so the whole thing kind of tied together. So that's where those symbols came from. We actually drew them ourselves for the cover, and it's all the band members are all the arms as well, so everybody's there. It's just I'm at the front, that's all.
Okay, I had
but
noticed.
It was,
Okay, I had noticed all the. I mean, I saw the arms, but I never figured those different people's arms.
Yeah, that's the whole band like hiding behind me, trying not to be seen. Yeah, it was a funny photo shoot. I kind of didn't tell everyone what was going to happen, and then when everybody got there, they were all really like tired after the shoot, and I was like, okay, so we're all going to get naked, take some pictures. And everyone was just like, oh, why are you doing this to me? And it was really like awkward and weird. Do you know what I mean? We were like, took us ages to get like the right picture, and it was pretty funny and kind of embarrassing, but I'm really glad it came off as it did in my head, because I thought that's the picture, that's the cover, and then it came through and everyone was like, okay, it was worth it. But it was weird.
So speaking of covers and albums, and how did you guys get signed to this label, RPM? Did you guys send in material, or did these people see you on YouTube or live, or how did this come about?
So we, like I said, had a previous band to this band. It was called Bird Eats Baby, and that has been going for a really long time. When we started to make metal music, we started putting out these singles. So we already like released Ribbons and Hex. And when we released Hex, it started to get quite a lot of attention. We put a big campaign into it ourselves, just as an independent band, but we made a lot of like extra content and this build up to it. And I think when you do see the music video, it's pretty intense. So people were really reacting to this. At the same time, I had this manager, this guy called Frank, who I'd been in touch with, who's actually Lordi's manager. And I'd been in touch with him since before the pandemic, and we were supposed to meet because he really loved what we were doing with the previous band, and then everything kind of fell apart. And then I got this email around the time that we were releasing this metal music, and he said, I'm at Wembley, I'm with one of my bands, do you want to come up and have a coffee? So from that meeting, he saw the music video for Hex and said, this is something I can actually probably get you a label for, because the music we were making before was pretty progressive and strange, but it didn't really fit in anywhere. It was really like all over the place. Every song was like a different genre, and it was a great fun band, but it was just really hard to like promote and market. So when we started making metal, he said, well, if this is the music you're making now, maybe we can do something with it. And then he has friends at Raining Phoenix, so about a year after that, we had loads of meetings going backwards and forwards, and we flew out to meet them and just had to make sure it was the right decision for us, because we've been independent for so long. But as soon as we met the team and spent some time with them, it was quite clear that we had a lot in common, which was really great. And because Frank knew them, everything kind of went really smoothly, and we're just so lucky that happened. We just had a contact who could speak for us and make the introduction, and that's it really. So we're just really fortunate that we had that, and that we all got on as a team. And they're just really cool people. They're really into their music. They basically were like, I hope you're going to write more weird music with odd time signatures. So like, yes, well, yes, we can do that.
Very cool. One of my favorite bands is on RPM, D-Side. That's one of my favorite bands.
Oh yeah, D-Side, yeah, they're epic.
D-Side. So back to the time signature stuff. For people that don't know what this is, I guess non-musicians, what is that? Because you mentioned 15/8, and then there's 4/4, and then there's 6/8. Can you tell the audience what that means? I mean, just a brief little explanation there.
A brief breakdown of time signatures. Okay,
Yeah.
So the top number in a time signature is how many beats are in the bar, and the bottom number is what type of beat you're counting. So if it's 4/4, there's 4 crotches to a bar, so it's just a straight beat with just 4 blocks in it. If it's something else, so 15/8, that would be 15 quavers to a bar. 6/8, obviously 6 quavers to a bar, and it's counted differently depending on where the beat, the sort of main pulse of it is. Anna will do a really good job of explaining this. She can even do the whole polyrhythms breakdown and everything. But in progressive music, it's quite common to change time signatures, but not just time signatures, but also to introduce another rhythm underneath, so you can have multiple time signatures going on at the same time, which happens in some of our songs and a lot of the bands we listen to. So basically, time signatures are awesome, and everybody should get into the rhythm of the song, because it's what drives the whole song. It's like the engine of the song is the time signature. And 6/8 is a great time signature. I used to write in my previous band. I used to write nearly everything in 6/8. But yeah, now it's not a very metal time signature, I have to say. 6/8 is a bit more like dancey, you know.
Yeah. So it's cool how you guys
No,
combine.
Lamb of God do it very well. Lamb of God actually have these amazing like grooves in 6/8, which actually I really, really love. So I'm lying, it's a great time signature.
It's awesome how you guys combined all these different time signatures, and you still managed to make it make the music cool and stick out instead of just a bunch of different beats and stuff. You guys managed to that's a great combination there. I guess the time signatures are hiding in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's like it's quite easy to try and like be clever and chuck a load of stuff into a song, and you know you can be clever, and it's just not like that fun to listen to, or it doesn't have a good groove. Like I think Tool do this really, really well. Like a lot of their songs are in really strange time signatures, and they're huge. You know, like schisms in you know, multiple time signatures. It's really strange, but they don't. It's not difficult to listen to. You listen to Tool and you just feel like you're being taken on this journey. It's not, you know, it flows and it's got a groove to it, and you can kind of just nod your head, and you're not really aware that you're listening to something that, you know, unusual. That's always, I think, a great thing that they do, is bring these odd time signatures into these huge songs, and they're like absolute classics. You know, everyone knows those songs, even though they're written in really strange time signatures. I think they just do that so well. It's a good skill to have, to hide that time signature in there. Yeah, it's really good.
Very interesting subject there. So before I let you go, Mishkin, when can we expect you guys in the U.S.? I know it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Where can people expect to see the band? What's your agenda? I guess that's my question.
So as soon as the album comes out, we're going to start booking tours. So we have to wait until that kind of drops, and then things can really pick up for us. We think that 2025 will be the year that we do the most touring, and we'd love to get out to the States. I've toured the States maybe 6 or 7 times in different bands and loved it. It's one of my favorite places to go and tour. And yeah, love Texas. It was great. So I really hope to see you there as soon as possible.
Well, for sure, I'll catch you guys live sometime.
Yeah.
Texas, yeah. So I'll be looking at your socials to see when I can catch Crimson Veil. So where can people order or pre-order Hex, the album, through your socials? Or
so at the moment, yeah. So at the moment, it's just available on the Reigning Phoenix shop. But I think when it's released, there'll be like hopefully a shop in the UK you can buy it, and hopefully one in America, because at the moment it's just being ordered from Germany. And yeah, that's the only place right now we can have it. But as soon as the album is released, I think things can move a little bit more. But right now, it's available on the Reigning Phoenix shop. And the best place to find us, if you want to, is to sign up to our mailing list on Crimson Veil. I think it's Crimson Veil. Let me just double check that before I say this. crimsonveilband.co.uk, and there's a mailing list you can sign up for to be the first to hear about when we are touring, and you can follow us on all the social medias as well.
Awesome. So before I let you go, would you like to send a message to your fans and people watching this?
Okay. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about time signatures and polyrhythms. I hope that it wasn't too boring. And yeah, thank you for having me, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. Stay tuned for touring, and you can catch our album out on the 20th of September. It's called Hex.
Awesome. So thank you for your time, Mishkin. I appreciate that. And likewise, it's an awesome chat. We'll do it again.
Yeah, really fun to chat with you. Thank you. Hopefully, not the last time, and next time I can bring the whole band.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. That'd be a pretty cool
Great.
difference there. So we'll see you in Texas soon, Michigan. I'll
Hope
send
so.
you guys. I'll put the links somewhere on the socials and keep you guys. We'll keep in touch.
Wicked.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mishkin, for chatting with us. Thank you, guys and girls, for being a part of our listening audience, whether it be on your favorite streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, etc., or YouTube. The YouTube video version is available for you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. Share if you like what you hear and what you see. So anyways, truly recommend Crimson Veil's album, brand new spanking album, Hex, Hex. Pick it up, stream it, support the band wherever you see them on tour, or go to their socials and support them. Follow them because they got some cool music to offer us metalheads. So anyways, on behalf of your friend James, don't forget to keep it metal.
That metal interview.